Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to episode number 2 of the Mission Breakout Lafayette Experience. Eric here.
Hi, I'm Wes.
How are you?
Doing alright, sir. How about yourself?
I'm a little tired today, but other than that, I'm alright.
Same here.
Did not have a good night of sleep last night. It's just couldn't get. You ever have those nights where you get in bed and it's like you can't turn off your brain?
Oh, all the time.
And you're just laying there like.
Thoughts
like
racing, yep.
You're looking at the ceiling like, oh, I should probably get up and do something, but
I'm
just gonna lay here and worry about whatever I'm doing tomorrow.
You get in bed and you think, I wasn't productive enough today.
Yeah, you're just like, I should have done more, and then you start thinking about things you need to do, and it just spirals. It just spirals, folks.
Yep.
So, weekend. How was your weekend? Good?
Weekend was fine, yeah. We were a little bit busier, just because, again, we're starting to enter those holiday seasons, so, customers are starting to pick up a bit. We were a little bit short-staffed this weekend, but not too terribly bad. Everybody made it work. I'm very proud of the work that everybody did this weekend, so, yeah, things went smoothly.
What'd you do outside of here?
Not much, just, went to dinner with some friends last night. It was nice to get to see them again. And basically just chilled at home for the rest of the time. What about you?
Did you eat anything good?
Well, we went to Olive Garden, nothing too special.
Well, okay. Well, that's always good, though.
It is always good.
I mean, that's always good. I mean, it's not, you're sort of the cook, right? You're sort of the.
I do try to be.
And that's not your authentic Italian.
Right. Yes. I mean, in fairness, Olive Garden is probably the closest I can get here to what I would consider authentic Italian food.
Sure.
And not having to spend $300 on a meal.
Sure. My weekend was packed.
Really?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I did a video a couple years ago for Veterans Day. My dad had passed away a couple years ago, and Saturday was the 2-year anniversary of that. So my mom and some family members, we went out to the cemetery to pay our respects on Saturday. Saturday night, part of my daughter's birthday celebration, my wife took her and a couple of her friends out to the Drury Inn, and they swam and they stayed overnight in the hotel. So I was at home with the little man Saturday night.
Bet you had a lot of fun with that.
Oh, we did. We had a good time. And then yesterday, my daughter went to a quinceañera.
Oh yeah, very nice.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, quinceañera.
And I didn't realize that was like.
Oh, it's a major event.
Like a major event.
Oh, very much so.
So from what my daughter tells me is that when these types of celebrations occur, that they spend more on these than their wedding.
Oh yeah. My younger brother was invited to participate in a quinceañera probably, 2 years ago or so, and they would have rehearsals. He had a full outfit that he wore.
Yeah.
There was singing and dancing. I wish I could have attended just to see him up there, but he said that it was a blast, and it was very reminiscent of an actual event rather than just a birthday party.
It was an event, because she got the invitation in the mail a couple weeks ago, something like that, and it looked like a wedding invitation. It looked like it was very fancy, not a typical 15-year-old birthday party invitation.
Sure.
And then I haven't seen any pictures of it, but the birthday celebratory participant, I guess we'll call her.
Sure.
Had this long flowing gown.
Oh yeah.
And my daughter, she was dressed very nicely yesterday.
Of course.
But she felt like she was underdressed. They had a mariachi band. And catered meal, and so it was yesterday. It was Sunday, and so they had a mass because they're Catholic at noon at whatever church that they attend, and then the party. The party was from 3 until midnight on a Sunday.
Wow.
Of a school night, which, that's a whole other thing. But, I'm thinking a 9-hour party, which, okay, that's I guess that's the culture of that.
Sure.
But she obviously didn't stay that late.
Well, right.
I think she came home at 9 o'clock or something like that. But I was just I was amazed that is a thing that it's that elaborate.
Yeah, and that's something that always intrigues me, is just those events that, you know, maybe you or I aren't as familiar with, but it has such cultural and familial significance that it's just completely new, but really kind of cool to see.
Yeah, she had a great time.
Hey, glad to hear.
She had a wonderful time going to that. So,
awesome.
So that was probably an experience that she'll never have again. But yeah, she got to experience that,
and I'm sure that's something that she'll probably never forget.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, as far as what we have on the docket today, we're going to kind of flip the script from last week. So, Eric, I think everybody wants to know, including myself, how did this all come to be? I mean, you're a small business owner. Yeah, I'm sure that not everybody knows exactly what that process looks like. So, kind of tell me about, again, how this started. How did you get from point A to point B?
Okay. Well, the story is kind of a long story, but I'll try to shorten it up as much as I can. So, I had worked 16 years in the healthcare industry, you know, doing various tasks of, you know, primarily delivery.
Sure.
And got passed over not once but twice for promotions into management.
Sure. Yeah.
And one of the things, one of the reasons I get passed over is because I got passed over by somebody who had a 4-year degree with absolutely no experience in the medical field.
Okay, so they had the schooling, but not the boots on the ground experience, so it was kind of like your opposite.
And it really didn't even, I mean, he had a business degree, but no experience in the industry. So
right.
So I decided I needed to do something.
Go somewhere different.
Well, I stayed.
You did stay. Okay.
I stayed there, and I ended up going back to school.
Okay.
Back to Purdue.
Sure.
And got my degree in organizational leadership.
Okay.
So I graduated with that in 2010, and you're probably a little young for this, but 2010 there was a major recession going on.
I do remember that going on. Obviously, I wasn't first-hand experiencing it, so to speak, but I do remember things being a bit tense.
They were,
yes.
And my tenseness comes from 120 resumes and 3 interviews out of 120 resumes and no jobs.
Wow.
So that's kind of disheartening.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That you worked all this time to get this degree and be on, you know, the dean's list. You know, I had, when I graduated, I had the golden tassels and everything.
Of course.
You know, so worked very hard to get that degree, and then nothing. You know.
Yeah.
So continued to work at my job. You know, still looking around. Finally, something came open in the human resources field.
Wonderful.
At a factory in Plainfield, Indiana. So started there, worked there for 2 years, and then decided, well, I want to get back closer to home, because living here in Lafayette, driving to Plainfield every day, back and forth 5 days a week, it was a long drive.
Maybe not the most long-term sustainable process.
63,000 miles on my car in 2 years.
Sure.
If that tells you anything.
Yeah.
And just primarily using it to and from work, not really going other places.
Right. Very much a professional vehicle.
Yeah. So looked around, and then something came open here at Caterpillar in Lafayette. So transferred from down to Plainfield over here to the Caterpillar facility in human resources still, and then worked there for 2 years, a little over 2.5 years. Well, about a year into my time there, the team that I worked on was remote. So I was stationed in Lafayette here with another individual I worked at, and then there were other people stationed over in Illinois and so forth. So we were about a team of about 15 people.
Sure.
And so they always wanted us to get together like quarterly for a team type of outing, which usually meant drive 3 hours one way to go do the team thing, and then come back home. So this one particular quarter, they wanted to go do this thing called an escape room. Well, this was 2015.
So this was right when the industry was like at its infancy.
Yeah, this was a long time ago. We're talking 9 years ago now.
Yeah,
yes.
Which is crazy.
In its infancy. I had no desire to go. Because I was too busy with what I was doing at the plant here in town. I was in charge of family medical leave for the entire facility.
Oh wow!
Which was 1,500 people.
Yeah, that's
at that time.
A lot to keep track of.
And there was probably any one time between 200 and 300 people on some sort of family medical leave. Now that's not that they were actually gone. It might be that they get so many. They get so many times a week for doctor's appointments or things like that. That's
sure.
kind of what family medical leave is for the most part. But anyway, so I was in charge of that. So I didn't want to go do this thing because I'm like, I just don't want to. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
So it was on a Friday.
Okay.
And so I go to pick up my rental car to go do this escape room thing, and I'm late picking up my rental car.
Of course.
Then I drive the 2.5 hours to Bloomington, Illinois.
Yeah.
And there's road construction.
There's always construction somewhere.
So I'm really late arriving at this thing, and I'm already not. First of all, I'm having to do this on a Friday.
Right.
So it's 5 hours in the car, there and back. And then we're doing this thing I have no interest in doing. And I'm late, and it's just like the day is just not starting out well.
Kind of the perfect storm of things that you just don't want to happen.
Yeah, I was just like, just let me leave.
I don't want to do this.
I'm done. Okay. But so they split us up into 3 teams of 5.
Okay.
And they put us in these different rooms. Well, our room was called Child's Play. It was like almost like a child's nursery type of thing.
Sure.
So they explain what we need to do, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm still
not really into it.
I'm not into it at all.
Yeah.
Like completely not into it. So they put us in this room, and then we start playing this game. We start finding clues and unlocking things, and and the more we do it, like, okay, this is starting to be kind of fun. I'm kind of enjoying this. This is all right. So we get done. Our team did not make it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
We made it to the last clue.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're debriefing in the place we started at, and I'm sort of paying attention to what the person is talking about, but I'm also off to my right and kind of behind me. I'm noticing people walking in and out, and they're coming in to do this thing. This escape room thing.
Yeah.
And then they're leaving. And I saw several people come in and do this. And then I started thinking to myself, like, okay, so I'm in Bloomington, Normal, Illinois. I live in Lafayette, West Lafayette. You are in a college town, because Illinois State University is there.
Yeah.
You're in a college town, and I'm in a college town. And you seem to be doing this rather successfully. I would like to know how I can do this.
Yeah.
So I got really excited about it. So I came home and I talked to my wife about it, and it took a little convincing.
I'm sure. Yeah.
She's like, "You want to do what? Like, that's insane."
Well, because at this point, no one had really heard about this in the mainstream.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah, and she's like, "What? You want to do what?
You want to lock people in rooms and then watch them?
This is just another one of your dumb ideas that you want to do." Like, which, I mean, she's not wrong, because I, tried to do things in the past.
Oh,
that didn't
sure.
work out. So I'm like, you gotta come check this thing out. You gotta come check it out. So finally, after, I don't know, a month or so, I finally convinced her to go over and do this thing. And so we do it. And we picked, like, the hardest room.
Of course.
There was just 2 of us, and it's normally a 14-person room.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So we didn't make it very far into the game. And, they're explaining it to us at the end. And then we leave, and she's like, how are you supposed to figure out that this goes with this? It was like there was like a book of like Moby Dick, and there was like a page there you had to get something off.
Sure, yeah.
Decipher. Like, how are you supposed to figure out that goes with that? And she was like getting really animated. So she's like, okay, if this is what you want to do, all right, well, let's talk to the person over there.
Yeah.
So I had some conversations with the owner over there, and it just didn't work out as far as working with them.
Okay.
There was a situation where it was just going to be too much to get started with them.
Right. Yeah.
So now I'm kind of back at square one because I'm kind of excited by this thing now, this escape room thing, and so we're kind of back to square one now. Okay, so now what am I going to do? So I talked with a friend of mine who's a professor over at Purdue, and this entire time that I'm having this idea that I want to do this, it's like, oh, it's got to be somebody within driving distance. It's got to be somebody I got to have contact with.
Sure.
Like it's got to be face to face and one to one. And he's like, well, why don't you just email some other places that do this around the country? Yeah. And I'm like, of course, why not? Yeah,
right.
Well, you're such an idiot sometimes. So that's what I did. So the Thanksgiving weekend of 2015, I sat down and I sent out about 30 emails.
Sure, just kind of casting your net wide.
Yeah, just to different places. And, most didn't get back with me. There's a couple that got back with me and said, no, we're not interested in doing something right now. And then I got an email back from this gentleman in California. And his name's Chad. And he said, well, I might be interested in doing something. So let's have a conversation. So at that point, that started a 3-month back and forth email conversation.
Okay.
So we get to February, now we're in February 2016, and he says, okay, we've kind of talked this thing to death. Why don't you come see me and see what this is? So that's exactly what I did. So I got up at, 3 or 4 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Sure.
I drove to O'Hare. Almost missed my flight because I had trouble finding parking.
Sure, as is always the case.
Jumped on a plane, flew from O'Hare to Orange County, California. Hung out for the day, met him later on in the evening on Sunday. Got up Monday morning, met with him some more. The more we talked, the more we realized, we've got a lot in common here.
Yeah.
We share a lot of the same beliefs, the same value systems. So it was a very good and very productive conversation. So we ended late on Monday, like late California time. Monday.
Yeah.
And then I got up Tuesday morning and then flew home, and so I made a round trip from Lafayette to Orange County, California, and back in about 60 hours.
So suffice it to say, you were quite exhausted.
It was, but it was good. It was a good exhaustion because on the
Sure.
plane I'm like crunching numbers.
Yeah, writing stuff down.
Writing stuff down. Yeah. And so I came home and I talked to my wife, and she's like, okay, if this is what you want to do, then we need to put a business plan together. So that's what I did, put a business plan together. We thankfully were approved for a small business loan.
Fantastic.
And then, the space that we're in here, we found this space, like this is the first space we found.
Oh, really?
And we were really attracted to the space because there's a lot of good traffic along Earl Avenue out here.
Sure.
And the rent was fairly reasonable.
Yeah.
So, so we decided, okay, we're going to do this. So sure enough, on July 1st of 2016, I went in and put my 2-week notice in at Caterpillar. I left on July 15th and started the process of getting this place ready so we could open. So yeah, so I left my, security of my job July 15th. That was a very obviously scary thing.
Oh sure, yeah.
We worked and we got the place ready, and then September 2nd of 2016 we opened the doors, and here we are 8 years later, still chugging along. We
never looking back.
There's been times where you question yourself and things, and then COVID happened, and that whole thing, but yeah, we continue to chug along, and we're so thankful to be here.
Well, that's awesome. So you had mentioned, and again, the thing that pops directly into my mind when I think about maybe some hurdles or some obstacles that you had to overcome, such as getting passed up for those management positions, maybe getting rejected by some of those escape room owners that you'd email. So what was kind of your drive to get past those obstacles when it seemed like for a while there you just really couldn't catch a break?
Well, you just have to keep going. Because if you stop, that's the worst thing you can do.
Sure.
Is stop. Yes, the things are going to come up. Yes, you're going to have obstacles in your way. Yes, you're going to have ups and downs for sure. But the worst thing you can do is stop. I tell anybody that about anything in life. If you stop moving forward. You stop growing. You have to. If you want something, you have to work for it.
Right.
That goes without saying. So, yes, despite being passed up for those things, you still have to keep going. Like those couple times I got passed up for management roles, I still had to show up for work. I still had to be there. I still had to take care of my customers.
Sure, absolutely.
I can work on another plan over here on the side. I can work on that. But I still have to keep my focus of what I've got to do to take care of myself, take care of my family,
of course,
in order to be able to then pursue what's over here.
Yeah. So you had mentioned that period between July 15th, where you finally left the comfort of Caterpillar, you embarked on this new journey, to September 2nd when we opened our doors. Now, obviously, there was a lot of work that went in to this place in that time period, because you're basically going from square one, starting, to having a fully functional escape room business, which is no small feat. And if memory serves me correctly, at that point we had the Sherlock Study Room, Apocalypse, and Bank Heist. Is that right? So that's 3 full escape rooms?
Actually, we started with 2.
Oh, we started with 2. Okay.
So we started with Bank Heist and Sherlock Study.
Okay.
And then about 6 weeks after we opened the doors, then we had Apocalypse.
Okay.
Now we did have those 3 rooms when we had our ribbon cutting with the city.
Okay.
But that first, Apocalypse was done mid-October, end of October, something like that, of that first year. So when we started, we were at 2, working on a 3rd.
Sure.
And so it was a little bit after we opened before we got the 3rd one up and running.
Yeah. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about that time period. Was it a mad scramble to get everything ready in time? Were you doing it by yourself? Did you have help? What was going on in that time period where we first stepped foot into the building to where, hey, we're ready to have the public come in and see this?
Sure. Well, it's the escape room industry is a little bit different today than it was back 8 years ago.
Of course.
Where you could come in and you could spend $1,000 and you could have a room. You put some furniture in and some locks and keys and things like that.
Sure.
And you could call it an escape room.
Right.
During that time, there was a lot of work that had to be done because we had to. Probably the biggest bulk of the work was researching things. So going to Goodwill and trying to find things that make sense in the room, or going to Habitat for Humanity and purchasing stuff, or when we first started out, we didn't have the control room behind the wall here.
No.
We had a welcome desk, and that's where our control room was. It was 1 computer and 1 TV and 4 screens for the rooms. So I had to search, because we had a big desk out here.
Right.
For people to check in and stuff. That was our check-in desk. And so researching where to find that, and then finding chairs to have people sit in. I had to go clear over to Cincinnati, Ohio, one day.
Oh, really?
To pick up all this stuff, and then the nerve-wracking trip on the way home, because I had used my dad's truck, and it's a short bed truck.
Oh yeah.
5-foot bed on it. Well, the desk that was in there barely fit.
Sure. Yeah.
You were like pushing to get the tailgate up.
Yeah.
And then all the chairs that we had, and so driving all of because it's exposed, like there wasn't a cap on the truck.
No.
Driving all that stuff exposed, like, was just the absolute most nerve-wracking trip I've ever taken from one place to another, because we're covering it up, but then you're out on the interstate and the wind's blowing, and and like, we're not driving, in fact we're driving 55 on the interstate.
Oh yeah.
Then getting that stuff back here, and then we got back to close to Indy, and then it starts sprinkling, and,
oh no.
And so all that stuff's in the back, and it's just like when I got back here with that stuff, like, I was just like physically and emotionally just drained.
Yeah.
Like, because I was never so glad to be back to Lafayette. It was just,
sure.
It was an all-day thing, and I decided at that point, I'm like, I'm never hauling stuff on a truck again.
Yeah, never once.
I will rent a U-Haul from now on, and haul whatever we need to haul. But,
sure.
So probably the biggest thing was the research in trying to find stuff in order to be able to outfit the lobby, outfit the rooms, and so forth.
Yeah. So really, it was a labor of love that you poured your blood, sweat, and tears in order to complete.
I have literal blood, sweat, and tears in this building. Cutting fingers,
Oh yeah.
What have you? Almost losing fingers. Late nights in here.
Mm-hmm.
Those first few weeks. I'd have nights where I'd be here until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
Sure. Lots of tears. Like, is this the right thing we're doing? Or am I going to ruin my family by trying to do this?
Right.
So lots of emotions went into it.
Well, because I'm sure that at some point in your mind you were like, all right, I have officially crossed the threshold, like the point of no return, where it's like, maybe before now I could have pulled out and maybe everything would have been okay, but now I am too far deep. I have to see this through to the end.
Oh, that was from the beginning.
Oh, really?
I left a job that had security. I left a job that was going to be there, to just quit that cold turkey, to go from one thing to the next. It wasn't like I was working at Caterpillar and this was like a kind of weekend side thing.
Right.
This was I'm done over there, now we're focusing on this. And then
a very abrupt switch.
Right. And then you couple that with, you have a loan for a small business that you've got to pay back.
Sure, yeah.
Whether you have sales or not.
Right.
So that was certainly nerve-wracking at the beginning. But then when you start seeing people, come in and like, okay, I think we might be okay. Oh, look at that. We're in month 2. We made a profit this month. That's fantastic. Oh, okay. Well, things are really starting to go. Oh, goodness. Goodness, there was 100 people here on Saturday. Okay, now I need some help because
right.
I can't do this all by myself. So you saw those early on. You saw those incremental steps that said, okay, I think we're going to be okay. Certainly, we still have our ups and downs.
Of course.
It's like any business. We have our busy seasons and we have our slow seasons, and just always being mindful of how you're going to navigate those things when those things do come up.
Yeah. So I guess, and I hopefully already know the answer to this, but do you have anything that you would have done differently? Do you have any regrets? Do you still think this was the right decision?
Absolutely, I think it was the right decision. As far as regrets, there's a few. I wish we would have. I wish we would have done our rooms differently in the beginning.
Okay.
Because the industry has changed so much.
Oh, drastically.
Even in the short time that we've been around. That it's changed quite a bit. And just maybe had pulled the trigger quicker on things.
Okay.
And upgraded our rooms quicker. Would be one thing that I would pinpoint. Certainly, wish we would have had a little bit more cash flow in the beginning
of course.
as well. So having cash flow would give us flexibility to do bigger and better earlier. But as far as major regrets, I don't think I really have any.
That's good. That's good.
It's 2:00.
Yes, it is. Give me a second. All right, Wes, cut this out. We'll pick it back up where you were saying you don't really have any regrets. Where's the great group chat? Hey, man, this is keeping me on it.
Hey, that's whatever it takes, right?
Okay.
Oh, look at that! I got a notification from you.
Oh, hey, look at that. Crazy. All right, cut back in here. We're talking about regrets.
Okay. No, I would say no major regrets, but
Good.
yeah, there's always some things where you sort of question and second guess yourself, and you can't linger on those. You have to move forward, move past those things, because you have to constantly be thinking of different ways to do things. Your innovation has to be there. You have to. That's how you're going to survive.
Sure.
Because if you aren't doing those things, then your chances of surviving are going to be much lower.
Yeah. So, and obviously with the industry changing as rapidly as it did, like you had said earlier, it used to be that you could spend $1,000 or so, put some locks and keys in a room and call it a day. Obviously nowadays for our projects, we're looking at quite a bit more than $1,000 and a couple hours putting some stuff in the rooms.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the projected timetable for the new project is going to be about 12 weeks or so. So going back to when we first opened, you remember that day where we first were able to open our doors to the public, and you were able to show anybody who wanted to see it this labor of love, this passion project that you did. What did that feel like? How are you doing on that day?
Excited, nervous, just sort of a jumble of emotions.
Sure.
Because where we run pretty efficiently now.
Of course.
Where we run a game every 15 minutes, and then there's a 45-minute reset time between each room. Well, when I first opened, I was running one room at a time with an hour between each room.
Right.
Because I wanted to make sure that I was able to do them well and do them efficiently.
Sure.
So I didn't want to be running more than one room at a time.
Of
and
course.
then I don't remember how long it was after that, that we then, now we can run two rooms at a time. And I can remember just being just a nervous wreck with that, because again, I was here by myself. This was before anybody was hired at any point.
Sure,
or anything like that. So it was that first time doing that was really, really nerve-wracking. But then the more you do it, it's like anything in life. The more you practice at it, the better you get at it.
Yeah, sure.
And so just over time, increasing that. Well, it was two rooms. Then now we can have three rooms going on at once, and then sort of building it from there. And then eventually got to a point where it's like, this is too much for me individually. I need to have some help.
Right.
So that's when I started hiring people about 6 or 7 months after we were opened the doors. And here we are today with 5 people working here, and hopefully a couple more here soon.
Yeah.
And so so it's so I think we've built something pretty special here, and I think that people enjoy it, and I hope people continue to enjoy it for years and years to come.
I absolutely agree. I mean, obviously I don't see us going anywhere anytime soon, and obviously I've only been here for about half the time that we've been here, but in the time that I have spent here, I mean, I've just been so happy to see both the growth that we've made and just the strides to really make a name for ourselves, but also to provide a unique experience to the people in our community and be able to be that unique activity that people might not think about originally, and maybe be some people's first, and that's a really special thing to me. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And we do have unique themes here. We do. We have Barrel of Lies. That's a winery theme. You don't see a lot of winery themes.
No.
We have the Trials of Oz, which is a Wizard of Oz themed room. We have Olympus, and that's a mythological themed room. Masquerade Manor, that's a masquerade ball. And then we have Sherlock, which you see a little bit more frequent. But there's always everybody can put their own different twist on Sherlock. And that's you mentioned about it being about a unique experience. Well, I think we do offer those unique experiences.
Very much so.
And we when people come in, we want to show them that unique experience. We want to, that's what we're here for. We're here for our customers. We're here to show our customers an outstanding time. And you've heard me over the years. You've heard me preach that our customer service is that's what we pride ourselves on. Here is definitely our customer service. Our motto here is we strengthen relationships one escape at a time, and I really believe that. I really believe that we're here for moms and dads who don't get to see their kids a lot through the week because of so many activities that are going on. We're here for those family times when families are in for the weekends, or they're here for the holidays and things like that. It's a really unique opportunity to get together, to spend an hour together doing something that you don't normally get to do. And that's what I love about what it is that we are here for and what we stand for.
That is, I could not have put that better myself. Very eloquently put. So I think the last thing that I had is that lately we've seen an uptick of people, whether it be physical businesses or online businesses or whatever, people have on the whole been starting to take that plunge a little bit more often into, hey, maybe I want to do something myself. I want to open up my own small business, or I want to maybe get away from the job that I'm doing currently and go out on my own. So what advice would you have for anybody who wants to do that, that maybe they just don't know where to start, or what have you? What would you tell them?
For any kind of business, for any industry that you're looking to start a business in, do your research. That's the most important thing you can do, is do your research. Yes, it takes money to run a business. Yes, you've got to have a place to run the business, and those things are important as well. But you have to be able to prepare yourself as much as you can before you embark on any kind of business venture.
Sure.
Because I've seen this a lot not a lot, but some in this industry where you have fans of escape rooms, and they're really passionate, they're really excited about escape rooms, but they don't take into consideration and account the business of the escape room.
Sure.
And they'll ramp it up, and then you'll see within months they're closed, they're shut down because they didn't concentrate on the business piece of it.
Yeah.
And so that's having fantastic themes and doing the wonderful things that we're able to do is only part of it. We have to be able to, okay, when we do something like, is this going to work? Is this going to work? Are we going to be able to make a go of this? Are we going to be able to be profitable from this? So we can do things beyond what we're currently thinking about.
Sure.
So definitely doing research into whatever it is you're going to do is absolutely the most important thing. And it's okay to be a fan of whatever it is you're doing, but don't let that be the only reason that you do something.
Yeah, you have to have, like you said, you have to do the research to be able to have the knowledge to back up the passion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for going through your story, and I think hopefully that provides a little bit more context for people that, like, hey, we got started, we're normal people just like the rest of you. I'm very happy to see what we have coming in the future, and I'm glad that we got to explore some of our maybe more humble beginnings.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Do you have any closing remarks for me today?
I think we're all wrapped up for today.
Wonderful. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to tune in next Thursday. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks for watching the Mission Breakout Lafayette Experience. Take care.